What is up, guys? Team Yugi here with another deck profile, and today we're going to be taking a look at, in my opinion, what's going to be one of the best decks post-Eternity Code, and that is Orcust. I think Orcust is going to make a huge return with the release of, I believe his name is Gursu. He's basically the new Mech Knight Orcust card that is essentially just a better version of like Armageddon Knight and Dark Grapher. So I'm going to show you guys what I'm playing, and this is pre-Eternity Code. Obviously over here in the US we got Eternity Code delayed, whereas Europe is going to get it on time. So I'm just going to show you guys what my list currently is. Like I said, this is pre-Eternity Code, but for the Orcust cards, we play 3 Orcust Nightmare. This is probably the best Orcust main deck monster. Just being able to dump whatever resource you need from your deck to your graveyard is super helpful, and boosting your monsters also helps at the same time. 3 Symbol Skeleton. This is just amazing to be able to bring back your Dingirsu over and over again, or other Orcust cards if you bring back like a Galatea or a Longirsu or something like that. It's also useful in those cases too. Definitely a solid card. 3 Brass Bombard. This is probably my least favorite, but I'm playing it because it does have the applications of just being able to summon it and then banish it from your grave to summon an Orcust from hand. Or if you just need to discard it and summon an Orcust from hand, you can do that as well. Then I play 3 World Wand. This is a lot different than your traditional Orcust list. The reason is because it's a World Legacy Orcust deck. Playing 3 of this card gets you exactly where you need it to, which I'll obviously explain as we progress further through the profile. I'm actually going to put one of them to the side, that way I could show you. We also play 3 World Legacy World Armor. This is part of the reason that we're playing the Triple World Wand. As I get to the Spell and Trap lineup, you'll see exactly why. So it's a pretty cool interaction that gets you a free monster on board if the combo goes off, which I really like. Then I'm playing 3 Machina Fortress, or Machina Fortress, however you wish to pronounce it. This card is really solid because just about your whole deck is machine monsters, so you can discard itself and another from hand to be able to special summon itself, which is a really cool built-in ability that it has. Then we have 3 Scrap Recyclers. I'm not playing the Golem. I opted not to play the entire Scrap engine, so I don't have Wyvern or Golem in there. I just found it to be kind of tedious to play and not worth it, but I think that Recycler itself is worth it because we don't have the new monster yet, which, like I said, I believe his name is Gursu. But we don't have him yet, so Scrap Recycler is what we're currently playing. 1 Orochi because it's just too good. Then we play 1 Grepher and 1 Armageddon Knight. These might come out once the new Mech Knight Orcust monster does come out. Those are the monsters, though. We'll move on to the spell cards. We're playing 3 Allure Darkness. Obviously, most of the deck is dark monsters, so Allure does come in handy all the time, which is awesome. Then I play 3 World Legacy Survivor. So this is the reason I pulled them to the side, as to why I'm playing 3 copies of each of these. So let's say that you activate World Legacy Survivor. I'm going to move this up here so you guys can see it. You activate the top 5 cards of your deck. If you do, add an excavated crawler or World Legacy monster or World Legacy card to your hand. And then you send the rest of the cards to the graveyard. So what you do is you would activate this, and you ideally want to hit these 2, or you just want to hit this and another World Legacy card. So if you hit these 2, you add this to hand, and then the remaining cards go to grave. So your wand goes to grave. Seeing it goes to grave, you can then special summon World Armor from your hand, which will allow you to search for a World Legacy card from your deck, which is really awesome. So that cool little interaction gets you a lot of search power, which is really powerful. 1 World Legacy Succession. You don't really need more than this. Playing 1 of it is fine. You really don't want to draw it, you just want to search it, but there are times where you will draw it and you kind of have to use it. 3 Cosmic Cyclone. I've mentioned this in prior videos and I'll keep mentioning it. With Mystic Mine and with Eldritch running around, this card is almost necessary to be main decking. At the bare minimum, like, you need to at least side deck it, but I think main decking it is really good at least 2 or 3. That way you can just out problem cards that your opponent has. So 3 Cosmic Cyclone is definitely worth it. 1 Foolish Burial and 1 Rhoda. I think that the Foolish Burial is fully necessary. I think the Rhoda is 50-50, but it does give you another card that basically is Armageddon Knight or Dark Grepher, so you can't complain too much about it. It's just one less technical card that you're playing. Then I play 2 Orchestrated Return. I thought about playing 3, but honestly, when I was playing 3 at one point, I was finding that I was drawing multiples, and I just didn't want to because it's only once per turn. So I cut it down to 2, and I'm not having any issues with it now, so I'm really enjoying it. Then the 1 Babel and the 1 Crescendo. These are just pretty basic. And then the last card that I play is 1 World Legacy Awakens. So this card, I'll let you guys take a look at this here if you have to pause the video. But it basically lets you link summon a monster on your opponent's turn. So if you can't establish like an IP Masquerade or something, you can always do World Legacy Awakens, and then it still grants you the ability to link summon. The only downside in comparison to Masquerena is that the monster could be destroyed by card effect. However, if you have something like a Dingirsu on field, you can avoid destruction, which is pretty cool. That's the great part too, is that this deck is pretty immune to Lightning Storm, so it's kind of nice knowing that like your deck just won't die to a certain card. You just have to watch out for Evenly, and even then you just keep the field spell and you get rid of everything else, which is perfectly fine. But moving on to the extra deck, 1 Almirage. This is primarily here for Brass Bombard, but there are times where you want to like make this with Scrap Recycler. Like if you're, let's say you do open, I think it's World Legacy Return, which is the spell, or Succession, I'm sorry. Succession is the spell. So like if you open this in Scrap Recycler and you summon your Scrap Recycler and they imperm or Veiler it, you can make the Almirage and then you can bring back the Recycler and use its effect again, which is just a really cool interaction. So I'm playing the Almirage for a couple purposes, but it's definitely useful. 1 Barricade Board Blocker. This card is just really good overall in Orcust. It always has been. Being able to add stuff back from grave that are field spells, continuous spells, whatever the case may be. Or, like, you don't have to have one engraved to activate it, so you can just pitch an Orcust card if you have to make it live and go into your Orcust plays. 1 Masquerena. I think the 1 Masquerena is just mandatory in this deck. It has been since it really blew up in popularity. Then I play 1 Lib. So this card is absolutely nuts, and I love the artwork. Can I just like really give Konami props for a second and say that this artwork is awesome? But basically, this card is going to allow you to get one of your World Legacy cards from your deck and set it, which is really cool. So you know, it's just a really nice card, and the fact that if this link summon card is sent to the graveyard as a link material, you can shuffle 1 card in the field into the deck, so you can have multiple outs to your opponent's board, which is even cooler. Then I play the 1 Nightmare Phoenix and the Nightmare Unicorn. I just think that these are standard in almost every single extra deck right now. They're your generic link monsters, which is awesome. Then I am playing 3 Galatea. I think that 3 is necessary. There are going to be times where you're just like peeling through so many resources that you're going to want the 3rd one. A lot of times you can get away with 2, but I think 3 is fully necessary. Then I do play the 1 Longirsu. I think that playing 1 of him is just really solid. Not only is it because you can remove your opponent's stuff from the field with him, but it also just gives you access to being able to shuffle more cards from your opponent's field, or I'm sorry, shuffle cards from your banished into your deck, which is a really solid play. Then for the Link Force, I play 1/0 Boros. This is one of the most overpowered cards in the game right now. So when a monster is summoned to a Link Zone that it points to, you can banish all cards on the field, and then he comes back during your next standby phase. So, in a meta that we are entering and we are currently looking at, in which we are seeing Eldritch be such a powerful deck, this card is insane because you can banish their entire board. And if you banish their entire board, they honestly can't play. Like, they revolve around the graveyard so much that you doing that is typically enough for them to just scoop it up. And on top of that, when he comes back, he'll have a huge attack boost on top of it. Then I play the 1 Boral Sword. Nothing to really explain here. This deck has been playing this card forever, and it's very obvious to see why. Then I am playing the 1 Appaloosa. I'm primarily playing it because you can do World Legacy Awakens into it, but there are instances where you can do other things too to make this. It's not as easy to make it turn 1 prior to your Orcust plays, but it can be done. That was the only thing that I was contemplating with maybe doing the full scrap engine with the Wyvern and the Golem, is that you have an easier way to get into Appaloosa. But it's not fully necessary. This is like the 15th card in the extra deck that you can change up in any way that you'd like. And then 2 Dingirsu. This card is just amazing by itself. There should be no explanation needed for how good this card is. Then moving on to the extra deck here, or I'm sorry, the side deck, we are playing the triple Nibiru. So there's a really cool play with this, and I don't know how many people do know this and how many people don't, but I'll explain it. So let's say your opponent is going, or let's say you went first, and now it's your opponent's turn. You have a Nibiru in hand, and you have an Orchestrated Babble, which is a field spell. You have the field spell activated. Now, let's say your opponent gets to 5 summons. You can activate Nibiru, and then you can chain all of your Orcust spells, or Orcust monsters in grave because of Babble. And because those resolve first, the Nibiru doesn't summon itself, but it still tributes all of your opponent's monsters. Which is just an absolutely insane play, being able to clear the board still and not have to summon Nibiru. Really, really cool interaction. Then 3 Artifact Lancia. Seems somewhat counterintuitive, but in a meta where dinos are going to be pretty solid, where Orcust is going to be pretty solid, so you're going to have the mirror match. And even Eldritch, if you have to like destroy their back row, it's still pretty useful to have the Lancias there too. So I opted to play 3 of them. And then I'm moving on to the spells here. We have 3 Twin Twister for more back row removal. I know I've talked about it before. I don't have Lightning Storms. I don't feel like buying them right now, considering going forwards. I think that Orcust is going to be such a good deck, and Lightning Storm doesn't do anything to it. So I'd rather just play the Twin Twisters for now. 3 Dark Ruler No More, because you can just negate their board, and then you can completely play through it and completely clear their board, which is really, really cool. A lot of people get mad when you do that, and it's pretty funny to watch. So definitely worth playing it, especially in a meta where you're going to see a lot of build-a-board type decks. Then the last card, Triple Evenly Matched. This card is just really, really solid right now, and I think going forwards it's going to be even better. The only thing that I'm thinking about changing in this entire side deck, honestly, is the Lancia. And if I were to swap it for anything, I'd probably turn them into system downs just for going forwards, like post-Eternity Code. Right now, I don't think it's necessary, but going forwards, I think it is. So if you want to swap the Lancias for system downs, you can. But if you want to do that when Eternity Code comes out and just play the side deck the way that I have it, that also works too. But that is the main extra and side deck for the World Legacy Orcust deck that I've been testing. It's an absolute blast to play, and honestly, it's fairly budget friendly. It's not super budget. Like, you're still going to probably drop like $200 on it, roughly, but in comparison, I always tell people when they're looking at decks from like a more budget perspective to keep in mind what they would spend on a new gaming console or gaming computer. If you're willing to drop $400 or $500 on a PlayStation, on an Xbox, or if you're willing to drop $1,000 on a PC, if not more on a PC, then dropping $200 on a deck really isn't that bad, to be completely honest. But that's just my personal opinion. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button. I think we hit 282 subscribers today, so we're getting very, very close to hitting that 300 mark. We're almost there, so keep sharing the videos and giving me the plug that you guys have, because it's definitely helping, and I appreciate it a lot. So thank you once again, guys, and this is Team Yugi Fails signing out.